Hi everybody, it's time for a comparison review. If you have not seen the new HONE rolling knife sharpener that's hit the market, check out my full in-depth video. It is unpaid, unsponsored, and you're going to get the truth on this device. I'm going to compare it here to the Tumbler rolling knife sharpener, which has made a big splash in the market. Where I used it, did a review on it. You know, the device actually works. I will give it that credit. Now, that's about where everything stops on the Tumbler. Now, the Tumbler has a couple things that I don't like. And the one thing is it only comes with one grit and one grit only, and you cannot change the grits. This grit is equivalent to a 2000-ish grit. It is super smooth, and I don't care what videos show you, 5 seconds doing this, and then they do a knife test, and it's razor sharp. There is no way on a dull knife you're going to get a knife that sharp with 2000 grit that quick, and then you're done. It's not going to happen. And if you have manual knife sharpeners as well, you don't just use one grit. The only time you'd be able to get away with one grit probably is with a power sharpener, with a diamond wheel and a honing disc, which you can absolutely get things to razor sharpness, and I've done that with my devices. But I have a lot of sharpeners. You're going to see a lot of different reviews with different sharpeners coming up. I'm a big fan of some, and some I'm not. This has some issues. One is this roller is wood, and it goes on top of the metal as you're rolling. So get here, that's really annoying. And when you sharpen your knives, you'll get that sound. At least I do, and a lot of people have gotten it as well. And I don't think there's really any way to resolve that. It's just wood on metal, and you're going to get friction that's going to make a noise. The other thing is this steel disc they say for the honing. It's perfectly smooth. They have these striations here, which is supposed to take the burr off. I don't think it's really necessary. I think if you had 3000 on this side, you could actually take that burr off very easily. I know that this is the style you've seen, but I think the market's going to change. And while this may work, it really doesn't do much. It's a heavy piece that sits on here. And the one thing also about the Tumbler is it is wood. So if water gets in here and this wood expands, I've heard people saying they've had some issues with it where they couldn't even roll it. I don't know if that was just their unit, but I know it is a risk with anything wood that water and wood, and you're in a kitchen, will cause expansion on the wood. So that's another thing that you got to be careful of. The other thing that's similar, and this is great, is it has the inset rubber washers, which they all have. This has the same thing as well. But the big downside to this one that's been for me is that this disc has been too small. So I've had to move up to a chopping block to sharpen some thicker knives. The nice thing is with the HONE knife sharpener, it's got a much bigger roller, and you can see it's very obvious. Okay. That's going to get a lot of your knives, and I'm able to do vegetable knives and some other things that I have, some Japanese knives that are thicker that this wouldn't do without going to a chopping block, that this does without going to chopping block. So it's one less thing I got to use when I'm sharpening the knife, which is another huge plus about the HONE. The other thing is that the HONE is all aluminum, on aluminum, and you'll see in my review that there's a washer you can't see. It's a nylon washer, super strong, and it goes between this aluminum casing, which is the part you hold your hand on, and the inside shaft, which is also all aluminum. So you have a nice aluminum shaft, and there's nothing rubbing on the ends. So when you roll this, you will feel a little bit of that rubbing on the washer, but it's just a feel. It doesn't impact anything, and it still rolls, perfectly smooth and does a great job. I'd like to see ball bearings in this, and I actually talked to HONE about that. A couple reasons. One is I just like the smooth, the really smooth rolling feel. And again, this is smooth, but it's a different feel, as you can feel the little bit of friction on that internal nylon washer. Nothing wrong with it. I just think that down the road, that would be a really cool thing to add. And that's the one thing I would do with this probably. And at that point, I think you've pretty much reached damn near perfection with the HONE knife sharpener. The other thing is this takes up some space. The HONE was designed with its own built-in holder with the sharpener. And as you can see, the footprint is much smaller than this. Now you can do this as well, but it's going to stick way out compared to the HONE. The other thing I like about this is that the base of both these units have these rubber feet. So we'll move on to the holder next. There really isn't a whole lot other to say than this, other than it is a one-trick pony. I've done some videos you'll be able to see, shorts on YouTube. I've also done some longer videos as well. I tried to sharpen a knife that was dull, and I went on forever. I had real time, you'll see it. It took a long time to get a burr. If you have a knife that's slightly damaged, a little chip or anything else like that, I don't know how long it would take, but I would not spend any time with this device trying to get that knife to sharp, because it's going to wear your arm out and it's going to take you forever. So enough with the roller. The next thing is we'll talk about this is actually a stand or a holder, and it holds the base. So you now have two pieces for this. HONE has eliminated that, and you have one piece for everything. Again, huge improvement on this design, and I really, really love this knife holder. We're going to talk about this. Now, moving on to the tumbler, we'll put this out of the way. Again, this has little feet, which if they come off isn't a big problem. When the feet come off of this, you've got a major problem. So these aren't really glued in, they're like just stuck in, and they will come out at some point. If they do and you drop them on a dark surface or somewhere else on a carpet, you may not find it, it gets sucked up in a vacuum cleaner. And now with this gone, this is now a useless sharpener because you got the wobble on it and it's, you can try to hold it, but it's just not gonna work. So again, I think the feet on the bottom that are glued are probably better, but the fact that they're even on there and can come off, I think is something that just down the road, thinking about longevity, could cause a problem with somebody and then they'd be upset because they couldn't use it. Now, the other thing is you have a 15 and a 20 degree sharpening angle on this. And the pads on here do a nice job protecting the knife, so I'll give it credit, it's like a rubber pad. However, you can see in here these magnets are tiny, and they're really small on both of these, both the 15 and the 20. You also can see them kind of, starting to, they're up against that rubber, and they're making the rubber when it indents against those magnets. The magnets are not really that strong. You have both ends, a 20 and a 15, and that is the extent of what you can do. You also cannot do small little pocket knives or really paring knives well. They move around, and on the larger knives, this will actually have the knife come off and you'll see them holding the knife handle, which I've had to do a lot, up against this so it doesn't move. And in one of the videos, you can see it actually comes off as they're holding it, which has been a problem with this. Now that I've used it a lot, you have to be really gentle because if you push it all, the knife's gonna come off the magnetic sharpener. Let me go ahead and get a paring knife and my little 7/8 inch pocket knife, because people are always asking, does this do small knives? And let's take a look and see how it works on both of these holders. Now here are two knives that I have. This is a small paring knife. This one's from 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗪𝗪, and it's a Damascus steel knife. And this is the smallest knife I think that anybody would even want to carry on them. I've had this for tons and tons of years. I used to open letters. I did something stupid once, and I put something in here to try to make it easier, and I screwed up the lock. So if anybody knows how to get these so they lock again, let me know. It's not broken, it's just something's in there and I can't figure out how to clean it out. I digress. So this knife is only 7/8 of an inch thick. There's no way, okay, 15 or 20, that you're gonna go ahead and sharpen this on this sharpener. Not only that, you can see it's just gonna fall right down, and if you try to sharpen it, there's just no way. It's actually hitting the top of the rubber, and it doesn't even really slide across the top. For this, for pocket knives, it isn't designed for something this small, but because these magnets, which we'll talk about, are so strong, I'm able to sharpen this with a slight little angle modification on here, and I got this knife pretty sharp. This is designed, I'd say, for a little bit bigger than these, but even something this small I was able to do with the HONE. Very impressive, and I was really excited because I really didn't have anything that would sharpen this except for a stone that I have. Now, when it comes to the paring knives, you'll see, again, if we go to 15 degrees on this and you put this on here, it's below the holder. Not gonna work. And if you put this down and try to push it down all the way on the counter, it's not even close. Oops, and you can see, watch this, see how this just comes off? I mean, it's not very strong of a magnet. And to take this off, if you try to pull it this way, straight towards you, it's super, I mean, it just lifts right off. I'm gonna show you how I try to do it on this one, and I can't do it. I do not know the exact type of these magnets. The weakest ones I've ever experienced are this size. The other thing is, if you drop this on a hard countertop or you have like a wood surface and it falls on a corner, you're definitely going to possibly put a dent into this device, and you may dent the corner of this device. Another thing, and this also over time with the wood, is getting scratches on it, getting scratched up. So again, all wood. So if this gets wet down the road, and I'm in my kitchen, I get crazy and I do have things boiling. I may have the sharpener I did just sitting there, and all of a sudden I realize something's on it. Over time, I don't think this is going to wear very well. So I'm going to move on now to the HONE, because I've got a lot more to say about that in the sense of so many more features on what it does compared to this. So you've got, in my opinion, the tumbler, which is now basically obsolete. I mean, this device, as far as I'm concerned, has been trumped, and for the price you pay, compared to the price you pay for this, which is almost the same, I think the run's over on the tumbler. Nothing against the tumbler. I think the product, actually, like I said, I think it works, but it's a one-trick pony, and it's very, very limited. And for that, I really was excited when HONE contacted me and said they've seen all my reviews, and they really like the fact that I go in depth, I explain a lot of things to people, and really spend time to understand the device that I'm actually showing everybody. I've spent a lot of time with the device. Again, in the review that you'll see, I did a one-on-one interview, spent over an hour with the founder on the design. And so we're gonna start with this, and we're gonna go now on to how this also compares. We talked about the larger diamond surfaces, okay? This does have the nice removable rubber rollers on the side that come in, so you can easily change those. But you'll notice on this, there's a notch right here. When I first saw this, I wondered, I wonder what that notch is. Well, come to find out, it's because with the HONE, these diamond-coated, electroplated diamond-coated disc plates are interchangeable. They're also reversible. So you just put a fingernail in here, and it has a really strong magnet. So I just get a little angle on a fingernail, pull this open, check this out. There is your double-sided electroplated diamond-coated disc. The thing that's cool about this is, you can change it every other time if you want, or you can just leave it on one time, and when you feel it's got to a point where it's not as effective as you want, flip it over, and it has N52 neodymium magnets right here. These are actually about the same size that I've seen in the tumbler, but wait to see how these hold these things on. When you put this in here, you got to put it at an angle this way, because if you do this, it's gonna snap it. It's really strong. So it's got a real nice lip, all machined, beautiful in here. You put this in like that, and you just set it down, and hear that snap. That was grabbing it from my hands, and this does not come out. There's nothing you can do to pop this off. You've got to get something into that little area to pop it off. So absolutely fantastic. You'll be able to get 200 coming out on this soon. This is a 400 grit. On this side, we'll talk about the other side here in a second, they're also going to have a 2000 grit and a 3000 grit in a ceramic. So this is going to have an entire line of discs you can get, and check this out, 20 bucks. You'll be able to get a new disc if you want a new 200. You want to go a little bit, quicker. I got some bad knives. You want to hit it on with 200. 20 bucks, comes with its own storage pouch, which I'll be showing once I get those. You'll have a complete line that fits in a space like this with a little pouch of all your discs. Absolutely fantastic. The other thing is that this is, of course, when you turn it over, another plate or another diamond disc, and it's the same thing. It pops out with your fingernail, and I don't have long fingernails, but you can see how it's put together. This has a 440 stainless screw in here. It's not ever going to rust. It is attached with Loctite. It's never going to come out, and there's really no reason for you to ever take this off. I really like the fact that it's double-sided. It has the neodymium magnets that really hold this on, and you can flip these over when you're using them. And again, it snaps it in. That's the magnet grabbing that down. It's super strong. I really like that you have two different grits. One grit you can never change. You're gonna have to get a new device. You have all aluminum for this, which is gonna last you forever, basically. So those are the differences between the rollers that I've explained. This is a kind of machine. It's got a little bit of a nice feel to it. It's not perfectly smooth, but it's smooth. But you can hold it really nicely, and you can roll back and forth against your knives with no problem. You notice you have other devices, the Horrell, you've got the Tumbler, and you've got the HONE. They have what I call the roller style, which you're not gonna ever get away with that if you need a rolling device. It's gonna have to be something that has a shaft or a spindle and rolls. This is kind of the style. Now that's where anything stops when it comes to rolling tumblers. This device is patent pending. I think all the features on this device prove it is a new ground up design. This came out at, hey, I got a blooper. Everybody said, boy, this looks like a copy, but this is not a copy of anything other than you have a rolling device. It has the diamond plates, reversible, you have the multiple grits, and unlike the other devices, this one you can't change, but the other one you can change by unscrewing the whole piece on the end and putting on a new piece. It's gonna run you probably about $85, and this is gonna cost you $20, and there's no removing of the piece. I think HONE's nailed it on pricing. I think they've nailed it on functionality. I think that they have made this a device that is a all-in-one Swiss Army knife, I guess, of sorts, of rolling sharpeners. And I think that they have put the rolling sharpener to the next level. So that's my feeling on the actual rolling part. Here's the other part that's also brand new. Nobody has it. Horrell doesn't have it. The Tumbler didn't have it. HONE thought about this, and absolutely genius. This is the most incredible holder you'll ever see. It's rubber. So it's not ever going to sweat or swell or have any problems. It doesn't flex. It's a really hard type of NBR rubber. It has a lot of benefits and things that I'm going to talk about here. So compared to this holder now, you'll notice these feet that I talked about that come off. And if they come off, it's kind of useless to even use it. These have feet. However, the feet on this are molded. So you'll see both sides have molded feet. They're not going to break. They're never going to come off. And this is a super slick granite countertop I have. And if you just hold it a little bit, it does not slide. Now, come with little feet as well. To be fair, when you push this, it does. If you push down on it, it will slip. And I am pushing down the same pressure with both hands, and I cannot push this, but I can push this. So again, this rubber also is like a softer type of rubber. With these feet and this style, it holds on the counter really well, doesn't slide, and it will never come off. You won't lose them. The other thing you're going to notice is it is both 20 degrees and 15 degrees. So you will be able to use both those on your knives. But these have massive neodymium N52 rare earth magnets, and they are super strong. If you remember, we talked about this and the knife on it when you put it on, and you can just cut, it'll come off and you can just take it off really easily. So I'm going to show you the difference with this. Now, this small knife though, also you'd have a problem with these larger areas, right? Not designed for a small knife. HONE thought about this, and they developed this side, which has a 20 and a 15. And you'll see this here, which is absolutely fantastic, 20 and a 15. So you basically take this, and if you flip it over, you've got your larger knives. And if you flip it over, you've got your smaller knives. These also have N52 magnets. These are also fairly large for a small knife. And so using this one, the standard way, I'm going to show you the standard way on this if I had used this one. And this thing is really hard. If I try to pull this straight off, it'll come off, but it's really hard and it sticks really well. So I use just the angle to pull it off. But just having it on here is not going to come off. It doesn't slip either, so it really holds the knives on really well. I like that. And it doesn't come off. Try to flip it off. It doesn't come off. So these magnets are incredible, and this is a tiny knife. You have a regular knife on here that sucks onto this thing. It is not moving. Love that. Now, the other thing is these are inset 1 millimeter. Again, people look at it and say, oh, it's going to scratch your knives up. Done a bunch of knives to this thing. These don't even touch your knives, come close. A millimeter on this, it's actually pretty deep if you look at it. It's inset there. So when this is touching, there's nothing touching your blade except that nice rubber on there. This is the really, really cool thing that got me super excited, besides everything else that HONE has to offer in a package that's priced around $100 US, which is absolutely fantastic. I think it's like $109. So we're gonna get into this side here, the 15-degree and the 20-degree small knife sharpener. Now this is where it's brilliant. Here's the neodymium magnets. See that notch in there? There to hold the small knife. So when you put this on there, like so, the knife blade actually sticks on. It's in the notch, and it comes up over the top of the sharpener, and it also protrudes out. And the one thing that also was designed on this, check this out. You see these cutouts right here? Cutouts on these right here. There's 2 cutouts on the corners. See that? Those are shaved off. That's because if you put this on with the magnets and it didn't have those cutouts, that tip may not be able to get sharpened. You can actually sharpen this knife with either side. Use the 1000 grits. This is a 400 grit initially, and 1000 it comes with, which is fantastic. And whatever you do, I'm going to talk about stropping and honing. That's going to be another video, but this is what you need to get it sharp. But when you strop your knife or use a ceramic, it's going to take it to the next level. And the ceramic on this will get that there. Still going to want to strop your knife at the end if you really want to get that incredible razor double-edged sharpness on it. But this alone right now sharpens it way below factory, which is about a 300 on the best scale. I had this at like 350, and I got this down to like 220 just with a little bit of the 1000. I mean, it worked really well. So here we go. I'm going to show you how this goes. And you can see here, it doesn't hit anything and the knife does not move, except for me banging it. But the knife doesn't move, it stays in place. You can go crazy, push in, it holds it well. The nice thing is this tip, it gets this tip absolutely perfect. I mean, you can see this, but the tip on this rolls over like so. And you can see here how it gets that tip all the way back to the handle. And if you want to do 15, that's fine, turn it over, you can do 20. The other thing that impressed me, besides the small knives, which this is designed to do, is my little 7/8 inch wide, okay, Kershaw, and I'm going to go with a 15 on this. These neodymium magnets also are inset, as you can see here. It actually grabs onto the knife, and because this knife has a handle, it gets disrupted, but if you put which still sticks it on, okay, but you don't want to sharpen like this because it's actually, the blade's actually at a kind of a slight angle from the handle. So you just move this down like so, okay, and you put this on here, right? But check this out. If you angle this up like so, it's holding on there. I mean, it's amazing. You can see here in the back, it's not hitting the rubber. And it's not moving. I know a lot of you are going to go, man, that's freaking amazing. If you have a small knife, between these, for sure, easy peasy, lemon squeeze, you're going to do it. And I think it's really absolutely amazing. Do you think so, Hula? She thinks so also. So that's 2 of us. The final piece of resistance is, it is a holder for your HONE. So you can take your HONE, put it on here, and you're all good to go. I'll be doing future videos sharpening different knives. Hope you enjoyed this. Drop a comment. I'd love to know what you think about all the rolling sharpeners out there on the market. If you have one, which one do you have? And after seeing the HONE, you guys ready to switch? Until next time, smoke on, baby!